The Joe Rogan Experience.
My first joke was something about Michael Jackson. Yeah, and that was it. That's all I remember.
Did you write anything out before you went up there? Did you?
No, well, I tried writing, but my penmanship is so bad been coming out of public school. It's a damn shame when you can't even read your own shit. So, and my spelling is terrible. So that it's Michael Jackson. What did I think about Michael Jackson? I took it from there.
So did you rehearse it in your head? Like, how did you do it?
I rehearsed it in the mirror like most comedians. And, the toothbrushes are hollering and the toothpaste is standing up and everything, but it didn't translate on the stage that time. Because when I first started doing it, I just look up, unfortunately, looking up at the sky, up at the roof of the place like a woman ain't making love for money. You know what I'm saying? Ain't enjoying it at all. So I am, that's how I got down for my first one.
So you just didn't know where to look?
Did
you feel uncomfortable, like trying to?
The insecurity. That's why my name is Earthquake. And people keep asking me, why your name Earthquake? I said, the reason I named my name Earthquake, because if this shit don't work out, I ain't gonna mess up my good name. So somebody come in and say, hey, what's up, Earthquake? Hey, my name Nathaniel. I don't know Earthquake. He was Earthquake. He was Nah, that was my brother or somebody, but my name is Nathaniel. I don't even know no Earthquake.
That's hilarious. I thought it was just from the reaction you got from the crowd.
No, it was an insecurity that if this don't work out, I did not fuck up my good name.
That's hilarious because I thought it was the total opposite. I thought it was a cocky move.
No.
Like you're about to cause an earthquake.
No, it was like, no. If this don't work out, baby. You know what I mean? I wouldn't scully my good name.
It's funny because it's a perfect name for you.
Oh, thank you.
It really is.
Thank you.
It's it's in the insecurity of want to protect your name. You literally came up with the best nickname ever for you.
Yes. Yeah, and that's how it came. I used to tell the joke. People like, how you came into the earthquake? This has happened when your mother take every precautions and not to have a child and you still get pregnant. And there's nothing else you can name that child but a natural disaster. So that's what I wrote as a joke for it. But the truth, honestly, about it was the insecurity that if this don't work, I don't want to mess up my name.
Were you living in Florida at the time?
I lived in Florida. When I got out, I went to Atlanta. And from when going to Atlanta, that's when I started seeing what the comedy clubs was like. And that's when we started opening our club 2 years later.
So you do an open mic 2 years later, you have your own club and you're going on every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you got to understand, I'm Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 3 shows on Fridays and Saturdays. 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Thursday, 2 on Sunday. Every day for about 4 straight years.
Wow.
And it just...
And you're doing like an hour every night, every show.
Every show. Off the top.
Have you ever read the book Outliers?
No.
It's a great book.
Okay.
Is that Malcolm... Who is that? No, it's someone else. Yeah, Malcolm Gladwell. It is Malcolm Gladwell? It's a great book. One of the things it's about is they detail people who are extremely successful, and he talks about the amount of time that's required to get really good at something.
Mm-hmm.
And how many people that look like overnight successes, the amount of time they put in was extraordinary. One of the things he talks about is the Beatles. And the Beatles, they did all these shows in Germany where they were doing like what you were doing, where they were doing every fucking night. They were doing shows. And they had put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours doing these shows. And so when they first, air quote, made it on the scene, they had put in so much time performing, so much different than most bands because they had done so many shows nightly over and over and over again.
Yeah.
There's no substitute for that.
Not at all. And it's the foundation of who I am. So when I have to sit here, I go in with the confidence knowing all I got to do is make sure my environment is pure for me to be able to write the way I do, keep my mind straight, and I can come up with an album.
And when you were doing this, like 2 years in is a very unusual. That's not a lot of time for someone to be. Forget about headlining at all, but headlining every fucking night.
Yeah.
And basically being the whole show.
Yeah.
every night?
Yeah. We would get some comedians that come on it, but we didn't get any of the main comedians because Comedy Act wasn't happening.
That's such a cocky move to open up your own club 2 years in. That's amazing.
But they were so vulnerable. They was in the bad part of town. They didn't serve food, and then the cotton was skin more than the one that really would bring them down. They were so arrogant with it that they'll book a comic, 2 comics for the whole month, the same comic every week. Every week.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yes, I remember it was Joe Torre and Ted Carpenter. And they did the whole month. So when I brought my investors there to get the club, I said, look, these same 2 gonna be here. There's 400 people in here. They got 2 waitresses. Plus they ain't got no food. Plus they're in the bad part of town. So what we gonna do, we're gonna put the club in Buckhead. Black people don't go there that much right there because they don't go there. We're gonna call it Uptown. And we're gonna serve food. We're gonna have valet service. We're gonna be in a better part of the town, and that's how you got it. So once if you're gonna go up against anybody, you first gotta recognize their weakness and where you can draw from what they got. And that's why I pivot all my commercials to them that way. Are you tired of going down to a place, you park your car, and you might don't know who gonna be there, and they begging you for money? No. Come get your jokes up at Uptown Comedy Corner. You know what I'm saying? Where you don't see the same comedian over and over again. And we have food. And we have prompt service and everything else. Come to Uptown. So I just psh, psh, psh. And as you sit there, you give them a comparison by the town, and people are like, yeah, we like it. And that's how I got them.
That's amazing, though, that you did that 2 years in. Like, go from your career in the military, where you kind of half-ass it, you're not really into it, and then all of a sudden you find this new thing, and you're all in.
Yeah.
You're all in. You're opening up your own club 24 months in. That's crazy.
But it was out of necessity because I got tired of driving night all the way to Lakeland, Florida to get $50 a show. And then the biggest one, you'll tell a woman you're a comedian, and she's like, oh, I ain't never seen you at the Comedy Act. We segregated in the black community. If you ain't here, then you ain't doing it. You know what I mean? So it ain't done. It wasn't as expanded as it is now that they can even imagine this other club. This was the club of all club, the only club. If you didn't work there, you wasn't no black comedian.
So you had this in your head that you wanted to do this. And how did you make that happen? Like, who did you get to invest in it? Like, how did you start a club?
Well, it was this dude named Gary Abdul. He was a comedian too, but he booked things in like he used to do little small places like Denny's, for example, and put a plywood box up there, a little small place, sit there and he'll throw a show, and he'll book me, pay me $150, me, Ricky Smiley, and the rest of them. And we sat down and said, what you need to do is we need to open up a black club. So I showed it to him. And I said, this is how we can get him, what I previously said. He said, good idea. So we all went out and tried to get investors. I went to all, Deion, Sanders, Dominique, all the people in Atlanta. Hey, man, sure, just call this person. Motherfuckers ain't never do nothing. One of the person was real. One of the person represented was very honest. We said, listen, man, quick, I get 5 of these calls a day. He ain't gonna do shit. He ain't gonna do nothing, man. I ain't even gonna waste your time. You know what I mean? So lucky, Gary found the #1 plastic surgeon in Atlanta, and he invests. But he told us, I'm gonna give y'all $10,000 if y'all can flip this and show it can work on a small stage, then I get the club. So we went to Birmingham, a couple places, and turned the 10 into about 50 to 60,000. And then when we get that, from that point on, he said you could do it, and he gave us the $500,000 to get the club.
Wow.
Yeah. Dr. Tom.
Wow.
Rest in peace, my brother.
Wow.
Yeah, white dude was great. He used to put all the titties in the women in Atlanta joints. He was the titty specialist, you know what I mean? So if you seen any big titties in the 90s and the early 2000s, it was Dr. Tom.
And how did you know him?
I didn't. My partner Gary at the time knew him, and he brought him in, and we got together. He said, "I found somebody who could do it, but it's just the stipulation for us to do it." And when I met him, I was cool. It was beautiful.
Do you remember the opening night?
Yes, we had 15 people. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was 15 people. We
How
were
many
so
seats
surprised.
is the place?
It hold 250. Yeah. 250 people. Some of the people, matter of fact, my video person who handles my media for me, Star, she was, that's how we met. I hired her as my waitress, and we've been friends ever since.
Wow.
And I gave her a job to handle all my social media.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you go from there, 15 people.
Yes.
And was it you the first guy on stage?
Yeah, I had a couple of comedians to help me out, but I was the main man until we was able. Cause see, once that club closed, then all the comedians, oh man, I'm sorry, man. Then I'm gonna get down, cause now you're the only comedy club in the city.
Right.
You know what I mean? But till then, it was a battle. And it was a blessing in disguise because it made me the beast that I am today.
When did it start to catch on?
After Steve left. Once Steve, he taught me so much, because when he came, he said, "I'm going to do your club," because I couldn't get no headliners, nobody that could draw. And I was like, "Steve, would you do it?" He was hosting Showtime, and he probably said, "I'd do it for you." And he came in on a Wednesday, and it was only about 30 people in there. And I was like, okay. And he came in there and looked. He said, "Give them all their money back and come pick me up tomorrow at 5 o'clock when we do media." I said, "What you mean? There's 30 people in here." He said, "Steve Harvey don't do no show for 30 people." I said, "Well, okay then, Mom." And then I picked him up, and he took me to the radio. That's when I learned how powerful media is. And he stopped by. He said, "Let's stop by Dunkin' Donuts because we got to get some donuts and some orange juice because you got to smooth these jocks' egos because they feel you're going to try to take their fucking job and everything. You got to be in good on them." And we got in there at 5:30, stayed on from 6 to 9. I tell you, Joe, when we got back, excuse me. When we got back, he had sold out 2 on Thursday, 4 on Friday, 4 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday. Back in 93, I wrote him a check for $45,000. I didn't even know that kind of money exists in comedy. I was like, oh, yeah, I ain't never going nowhere. And when I saw him pick up that kind of money and seeing what kind of money can be generated as a comedian, I said, this is where I need to be. And once all of those people came and seen all the things that club had to offer and where it was at, and we had valet service and all the things that it could do, it was no turning back after that. And they saw me. So it was great.
Wow.
That will change the whole game.
That's a great story.